Works meeting. Hope everybody had a restful and fulfilling holidays, and so we'll kick off this new year in 2021. So with that, first order is Pledge Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, now we'll move on to the roll call members. Now, clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Sure. Mayor Gentry?
Present.
Becky McClure?
Present.
Bill Stoner?
Present.
Dick Robertson?
Present.
Alan Milburn?
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from our previous meeting, which I believe was December 14th. Any changes to those minutes? Okay, would entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, those minutes are approved. All right, on to department head reports. First up is Police Department. Chief Morgan.
Good evening, board members. Since our last meeting, the Lebanon Police Department has responded to 1,055 calls for service. A total of 36 people were arrested for the following crimes: 6 for operating while intoxicated, 1 for driving while suspended, 3 wanted on a warrant, 6 for battery, 1 for possession of marijuana, 4 for possession of meth, 1 for dealing meth, 2 for possession of a syringe, 7 for domestic battery, 2 for criminal recklessness, 1 for trespassing, 1 for invasion of privacy, and 1 for maintaining a common nuisance. In that same time frame, we did 36 handgun permits that were sent off to the state for final approval. We just finished up the reviewing stage of the new policies that we're looking at doing from Lexipol. Judge McClure helped us with the reviewing process in that. So after we reviewed them and made tweaks and changes, we sent them back to them. So when I sent you guys a report this morning, we were waiting for all of them. At this point, we're only waiting for 5. So once we get those all back, we can then present them to the mayor and the board, and you guys can sign off on them or tell us we need to make more changes.
Okay.
We started working with Body Worn. They're the body cam company that we're going to be dealing with. We've set up several meetings between now and April. April's when Body Worn's looking to get them implemented and out. There's a lot more to it than even I realized as far as getting the IT people involved. I've made contact with Move Over Outfitters, who does our vehicles. Instead of us moving all of our vehicles over there, 1 or 2 at a time, I'm going to see if Move Over can send somebody here to the police station into one of our bays and maybe have them over the course of a week or so get all of the in-car cameras installed and set up and ready to go. Plus, they have to make sure everything links up with the internet and technical stuff I don't understand.
Okay.
As far as Move Over goes, we still only have 20 of the 25 cars that we ordered last year. We ended up having to wait for 5 of them because they were moving from one building to a bigger facility where they could work on them better and get more done. And then apparently the whole shop caught COVID, so they had to shut the shop down for a while. So we're still waiting on those 5. When they get done with those 5, they assured us that then they're going to immediately jump on the 8 that are going to be for this year. So hopefully we can get those at the beginning of this year as opposed to waiting until September to get them. So that's all I have.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Okay, thanks, sir. Next up, Fire Department, Chief Batts.
Good evening, everyone. Since the last Board of Works meeting, Lebanon Fire has made 216 emergency calls of service, logged 320 hours of training, and completed 68 commercial inspections. On December 28th, firefighter Sean Yancey completed the state certification in fire officer strategy and tactics. We acquired Sean through our lateral transfer process and couldn't be happier with this young man's performance for us. He continues to work through the certification process to become a ride-out officer. On January 4th, firefighter Chris Perry started his Fire Officer 1 certification. That is a base certification that we require our ride-outs and our company officers to have. Chris has been with us for about 5 years. Another outstanding individual, does a great job for our department and city. Throughout the month of January, crews will be concentrating on ice and cold water rescue, along with the driver-operator program for Tanker 211. Our goal is to have Tanker 211 in service by mid-February. So there's a chance you might see fire crews out at local ponds and areas of bodies of water training this month. During the last quarter of 2020, we did a complete revision of our standard operating guidelines. Guidelines can be updated throughout the year, but this was a complete revision. The update included a new format and table of contents. All job descriptions were also updated to reflect new certification criteria, and we added Fire Investigator 1 for all of our ride-out and above officers, and we're actually bringing that school to the city of Lebanon, going to host it, and there'll be 24 members of our department going through that class. It was time to do a complete revision of the SOGs, and they've been welcomed with open arms, if you will, by the department. We're very proud of the document, and we'll continue to make improvements. The COVID-19 vaccine has reached Boone County for healthcare providers and citizens over 80 years of age. The Lebanon Fire administrative staff supports the Boone County Health Department, and we will assist our citizens as vaccinators. I spoke with Tom Ryan this morning, and they're going to see an increased need, and we have offered our services. We have the certifications necessary to administer the vaccine, and the staff and myself are going to step up and assist the county in doing that. That's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief from the board? No? Anything for the public? Okay, thanks, sir. Next up is Parks Department, John Messenger.
Good evening. The Christmas lights and scenes have all been taken down and stored away for the next season. There's only 348 days till Christmas. Get ready for that. Yeah. We've replaced all the fluorescent lights fixtures in the park office and have moved to more efficient LED light fixtures. Continuing to deep clean everything, maintenance facilities, office, and all equipment, along with maintaining repairs and maintenance. We're getting quite a bit of that done now. On December 28th, we held a recertification class for our lifeguards, which recertified 9 of our summer employees. We got to do that over winter break at the high school. We sure do like that partnership that we have with the high school. Them using the baseball field and we get to use the pool, so that's really helpful. The hiring process has started for our 2021 summer season. We'll be hiring part-time lifeguards, concession stand employees. Open interviews will be held on January 30th and February 13th from 10 to 3 at the park office. Applicants must be 15 years of age before April 1st. We've updated our website to show our new shelter names, as well as updated our weather policy for Seashore Water Park. Our new shelter names are now Cedar Shelter, Maple Shelter, Memorial Shelter is going to stay the same, Oak Shelter and Pine Shelter, both in Abner Longley Park, and Sycamore Shelter, that's the hot pond. As you know, they're all tree names, so we can grow there. We're hoping to have a few more shelters by the end of 2021. We also haven't allowed pool passes this year. We don't know what this COVID's going to do, so we're still going with the same policy that we had last year. We'd hate to go ahead and sell pool passes to someone and then shut down a week later. So we're not going to do that. If things change, hopefully they will get better now that the vaccine's out and everything. We can change that policy up and sell pool passes. But at this time, we just aren't allowing it. We are going ahead and selling pool parties right now. Those are going very well. We are asking for a 50% damage deposit, what have you. People tended to cancel right before they rented the pool party. That isn't working out. We want to keep it all full, so this will help us to stay in line, and that's just a couple new policies that we have. Our 2021 programs are mostly virtual at this point. We just held a blanket fort building contest, which ended on January 4th. Congrats to the Warren family for winning the contest. They had a fish doormat. If anybody got to see that, it's pretty cool. There were quite a few turnouts, but that was pretty awesome. Our snowman building contest will wrap up on February 1st. The winners will be announced on February 2nd. Be sure to email your pictures or your snowman to parks@lebanon.in.gov. We are currently planning for a city scavenger hunt to happen in mid-March. Be on the lookout for more information regarding that program. And that's all I have.
Thank you, John. Any questions for John from the board? Anything from the public?
348 days.
Appreciate the update. All right, next up is Engineering Department, Kim Krulik.
Thank you, board members. Updates on engineering-related projects. The downtown project, obviously we've closed that out, but we are taking some of the remaining funds and we're buying some additional street furniture. So all those orders are in for some trash cans, can liners, and some smokers outposts, just to round out our furniture package for downtown. Pavement resurfacing, the construction contracts are now fully in place and executed before the end of last year with DC Construction. We will look to hold a pre-construction meeting later this winter in anticipation of spring construction beginning. And then we're also actively, as you know, this was a Community Crossings Award, so we're actively working with the state on all the miscellaneous provisions that need to be in place associated with that grant. Other projects, the Whit Road Bridge, as you know, that is another community crossing grant that we received and was approved. We held our utility coordination meetings last week with all the different utility providers in the area and are developing work plans for the utility relocations as needed. Right-of-way buying is also proceeding. We have about 3 parcels to buy in various size. The total value of our buying is probably around $45,000. At least that's based on our initial appraisals. We'll see where we end up with that as we get into the process. Bridge construction is expected to start this year. Based on the utility relocations, though, it's probably not going to be till September till we begin the construction project of the bridge. But the utility relocation work I would expect to start in March. We'll give them about 6 months to get out of the way, and then we'll begin bridge construction in September. Still be able to wrap that up by no later than December 1st. Keep in mind it's a $700,000 project. About half of that is being paid for by the state. We are also later tonight asking for your authorization to seek proposals for construction inspection services. And the county will also be assisting us on that selection process as they will be maintaining the bridge and accepting the bridge after its completion. I only expect the bridge to be closed for approximately 45 days at the most during construction. We will do a complete closure just to speed up construction timelines and to obviously minimize cost. The Elmwood Bridge, the next bridge we're ready to talk about, you've already authorized an RFP for design services. That is out on the street. We've been taking comments and making responses to the various engineering firms who are looking at that RFP. Those RFPs are due back on the 29th, and then we'll be back before you for hopefully an approval at your first March meeting, excuse me. The trail expansion, we're still working with the legal department to wrap up the DLZ contract for the design of the urban trail from downtown to Abner Longley Park. So as soon as that is in place, that will go to the park board for approvals and ultimately execution. Grant Street project, the county has a community crossing grant program project for the replacement of the William Street Bridge. Had good utility coordination meetings last week. The water utility is expected to begin relocation and complete that relocation over the spring break holiday this year. So to avoid any conflicts with the school schedule and bus schedules. Then bridge reconstruction is still scheduled for this summer. While school is out, we'll expect the bridge and the intersection of Ann and William Street to be closed from June 1st through August 15th. Again, though, the goal is to not impact any any school traffic issues with Central Elementary. Let's see, other projects, let's talk about the bike park for a little bit. Fundraising and permitting efforts are continuing. Right now, let's talk about fundraising. As of today, we've currently received about $14,800 in cash donations, and we've got about just shy of $40,000 in in-kind and service donations. We've also gotten some commitments recently that will lead to additional cash donations. One that we are excited about is the Hoosier Mountain Bike Association. They are committed to funding, and I am attending their board meeting later in the week where they will determine at what value they will be participating in the project. Some programming updates, other things that we're working on. Sundance Mountain Bike Clinic. The Sundance Clinic has agreed to be our instruction partner. They would like to host one skill or class event during construction, so hopefully later this year. And then once the park is open, they would like to host 3 to 4 skills classes or events. Could be group ride events, type of events like that at the facility 3 to 4 times per year in perpetuity. I've also had good conversations with the Community School Corporation. They are very interested, and we are working to incorporate cross-country running capabilities into the venue, which is a pretty easy lift from the design of the park standpoint, to make this the new home of Tiger cross-country running and provide the Community School Corporation with the ability to host larger tournaments and events there related to their cross-country season. Other things that we're trying to get set up, we're looking to meet with Marian University and Midwest Devo, a local cycling team. They both expressed excitement in partnering with us and using the facility, and we are just scheduling those conversations for later this month. On the permitting front, our IDEM adaptive reuse permit is in. We won't expect comments probably till sometime in February, but we've spent the last 6 months basically working with IDEM, refining the plans so that it meets their requirements. And we're just expecting that process to take until February before we would see final comments. We're also meeting with Boone County TAC Committee on Wednesday afternoon to address any of their comments. Obviously, this park is located outside of city limits, so we're working through their approval process as well. A couple other things, regional detention project. Obviously, with the New Cold project, we are moving forward with additional construction on the middle regional detention facility. We've also been working with Ken's Foods, had a good conversation this morning about purchase of additional land so that we could fully build out the entire middle detention facility. So that is also in motion as we speak. Other projects, the road impact study is moving along, more to come in the next couple of weeks, but we're moving towards an April adoption process at this point. And then last but certainly not least, from our inspection department, from Mr. Calvert, a few updates. Sunbrook Villas, final storm walkthrough is completed. Only one repair is outstanding at this point. Sunbrook Section 1, the final surface asphalt is now down. Sunbrook Section 2, the final base asphalt is complete. Curbs have been backfilled, and that will remain idle for the rest of the winter with the exception of home construction, which should start shortly. Auburn Meadows Section 3, sanitary installation is complete. Storm sewer installation is still ongoing and working through the winter on that. They're about 30% complete as of the end of last week. Then on the New Cold site, mass grading continues and foundations have begun. Building 16, the business park, really just some miscellaneous private site work continues. No public improvements associated with this project that have not already been completed. And then happy to report that the sidewalks around the demolition of the Montgomery Ward building are now in and complete. That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Any questions for Kevin from the board? Anything from the public? Okay, thank you, sir. Next up is Planning Department, Ben Bontrager.
Good evening, board members. Just give you a little bit of an update on planning department activities over the last several weeks. We did complete an additional 74 building inspections and issued 25 permits, with 3 of those being new home permits. My understanding is those permits represent the last available lots in Sunbrook Section 1, which was our last neighborhood with lots available for sale. So we're looking forward to a couple of plats that are on your agenda for this evening, and then a third that we'll hopefully see in the coming months. So we'll have some additional lots available this year. But activity does continue on both residential and commercial industrial fronts. Just a quick, I did a quick calculation of 2020 year-end totals for the planning department. We did issue 64 new single-family construction permits. That is slightly down from last year. I think we're at 78 in last year in 2019. So we're 78 permits in 2019. I don't think that's a reflection of a reduction in demand for new residential, because I don't think that's actually the case at all. I think it was actually because we had less supply available. In 2019, we had, I think, 3 active neighborhoods, and in 2020, we really only had 1 active neighborhood throughout the year. So I think it more represents the lack of availability of lots, and it does a reduction in demand. So I do foresee those numbers to continue to increase in 2021 if we have 3 active neighborhoods with lots available over the course of the year. We may even have a 4th neighborhood that has lots that start becoming available towards the end of the year with Cedar Ridge. I know their construction plans are in our office now. So depending on when they start construction, they may be pulling some permits before the end of the year. So we may have 4 different neighborhood options by the end of 2021 going into 22. So that's great news. As you can imagine, commercial and retail construction hit a brick wall this year with the pandemic. There's really not demand for new commercial retail space right now, so we did not have any new construction related to that. We have heard word that Lebanon Gateway Marketplace may have as many as 3 projects coming forward sometime this year. An additional outlot may develop, would be a multi-tenant outlot, and then also the hotel and restaurant, which has kind of got put on the back burner over the last 12 to 18 months with everything related to the pandemic. There's not a whole lot of demand for additional restaurants and hotel rooms right now, but we do expect to see those projects come forward sometime this year. We did have a new industrial building. This actually represents Building 16 out in the Lebanon Business Park, which is a 600,000 square foot building. That's new industrial, new square footage. We'll see new cold that'll be in the numbers for 2021. They didn't pull their full permit yet, but we expect to see that coming anytime soon. So still demand on the industrial side, and we expect to certainly see additional activity rebound on both the residential and commercial side this next year. In terms of code enforcement, that continues to remain active. We've changed up a little bit how we report their activity. So what we do now is, rather than just reporting the number of cases, we look at also the activity related to those cases. So in the last couple of weeks, there were 93 different points of activity related to our cases that took place over those 2 weeks. And that's everything from sending courtesy notices to following up with our legal staff, doing junk vehicle inspections, having meetings with, or re-inspections. So it does continue to remain active, basically 93 points of activity related to our cases. And we did add, just in the last couple of weeks, 13 new cases related to junk and trash and signage violations, et cetera. So still a lot going on there. And then certainly, of course, as soon as the weather starts getting warmer, those numbers will go up significantly. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Ben. Any questions for Ben from the board? No. Anything from the public? Okay, thanks, sir. Next up is Street and Stormwater Department, Dave Newell.
How's it going, everybody? Still not much snow. We're not complaining. We've had enough for this year for us, but we've been pretty busy picking up Christmas trees. People throw them out, we pick them up. The trash will pick them up too if you cut them down to, I think, 3-foot sections, but all you got to do is put them by the curb and we'll grab them. We just chip them up. Some people come get them, put them in their ponds. All kind of uses for those things. We've been pretty consistent while we're doing that. We're cleaning off our drains. We've had a few sign repairs, a couple more than others, as Chad could probably vouch for by the police department. The 16th, we were out plowing and salting the roads. During that event, we used 37 tons of material. The guys come in 2 hours early, or the crew came in 2 hours early, and we worked through the day, so I appreciated that from them. And unfortunately, the first time in 8 years I've been here, came out on Christmas Day. We were out salting. We just had to salt that we didn't have to plow. We used 25 tons of material for that event. Just a huge shout out to the crew. I mean, they come out at 8 a.m. and worked till 11. It just fell right when, their kids are waking up, but nobody hesitated. They came out, we got it done. Some of their families held off for Christmas, but I appreciate all they do for us and for the city. I mean, we just knew people was going to be going to families, so we had to make it safe. And then the 30th, we had to go out salting again. It wasn't snow, just another salting event, and we used 30 tons of material in that event. That's another good one for them. I mean, after working all day, they came back in at 7:30 at night and worked till 10:30. So it's appreciated from them for coming in and, making safe travels for our residents again. On that note, I guess, up to date so far, we've used $8,528 worth of salt. And then but on a good note, we got the same price as last year at $92.70 per ton. So same price for last year, so we're not paying any more at least. And also, we'd like to let everybody know that the street department is hiring. We do have an open position. You can go on the city website and download or print off a app, or you can come to our office at 1301 Lafayette Avenue and get an application. Any questions they have, they could call us at 765-482-8870. We'd be happy to answer any questions they have. We would like you to just return your application along with your resume to the same address at 1301 Lafayette Avenue. And that's all I got.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Any questions for Dave from the board? Anything from the public? Yeah, I just want to echo what you said. I really appreciate the guys coming out on Christmas Day. I know that was unfortunate, but
Yeah, it's part of it.
I know that everybody dreams of a white Christmas, but I was thinking about you guys when that was happening, so sorry about that, and
That's
appreciate
all right.
their
It's
dedication.
part of it.
So.
Like I said, it's the first time in 8 years we've had to do it. So.
Yeah, so thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. All right, next up is Communications Community Development. Joe Page.
Good evening, everyone. Just plugging this in for 2 minutes and 43 seconds of your pleasure at the end of the presentation here. As far as community development goes, the department has been taking steps, you may know, to helping to add a Lebanon volunteer network. We have met with Serve Indiana, but also most recently last week we met with Lucy Schock with the Bloomington Volunteer Network. She was a fantastic resource that was recommended by Serve Indiana about working with entities back in the 50s, Battle of the Barbecue, to hopefully gain some volunteers, but also then flipping that around to work with volunteers and Lebanon residents and those folks nearby to increase their value within the community, to help them feel connected, and then help them to feel inspired to be able to further connect with their community and begin to volunteer. And so many great tips. We've already started to roll out a few of them. You'll notice even more, and I'll highlight those over the next coming weeks and of course months as well. As the weather begins to warm up, hopefully that happens sometime soon, banners and tigers, oh my. The remaining tiger statues will start to take shape and be unveiled within our community. Many thanks for our Parks Department for keeping those tigers in hibernation during the cold weather months. They'll be sealed and also put on concrete pedestals to be able to be dispersed within our community. And also 32 small banners will soon be on display along West Main Street as part of the downtown revitalization. Part of that went west on Main all the way down to the arc of Greater Boone County. So 32 great banners of folks enjoying our community will be added along West Main Street. And a couple of the larger ones will be replaced also due to weather and other issues as well. And to use that as a segue, one of the large banners will be of 5-time All-Star and 13-year Major League Baseball pitcher, Doug Jones. Doug Jones had a fantastic career here in Lebanon, went on and played semi-pro ball. Just a great story of stick-to-itiveness, love of the game of baseball in his community as well. We put together our Lebanon Legends video. You can find that on the city's YouTube channel, and the folks in the back have added it to our public access channel. The video on YouTube is a little more than 10 minutes. It's a long video, but so chock full of fun nuggets. On our public access, there's a slightly different version because it has to be under 10 minutes for us to be able to put it on the public access channel. To kind of give you a little snippet, I put together that 2 minutes and 43 seconds. So much great stuff from Doug Jones, and so first part of this you can't see it in any other videos, and then one is the second part of the video is my favorite story that he shared in our interview that we had. So without further ado, and babbling from me.
He came home one day from Indianapolis on a Saturday, and we were getting our car ready to go to a racetrack somewhere here in southern Indiana, and we needed a particular part, a hub bolt or something. And it was May, so everybody's at the track, everybody and IndyCar racing's there. And this was back when Foyt and the Unsers and, the 70s and whatnot, you get the time frame. Anyway, he comes back and says, well, I finally forgot that part. And we put it all back together. I said, where'd you have to go to get it? And he said, well, I ended up over at the Speedway. And I said, well, wow, that's pretty cool. Was there anybody there that I know? And he said, well, I don't know. I went over to so-and-so's shop and they didn't have the part, but Al Unser was there, and he said he was going over to the Speedway.
Al Unser in the 80 car is the only active four-time winner. He won his first Indy in 1970.
He said, just hop on the motorcycle with me. We'll ride over there and go to the shop at the track. And somebody had some parts, and that's where he ended up going, and he rode him back and on his motorcycle with Al Unser, and then came home with a part. I said, why didn't you tell me you knew these people? I would have loved to have been there for that. Whatever, it just was nothing to him.
Pitcher, Doug Jones.
That was pretty exciting to be a part of the All-Star Games. 5 times was just incredible. I got the win on the last one in Pittsburgh. That was crazy. Game I wasn't even supposed to play in. Jim Fergosi was our manager in Philadelphia, and he told me, he says, you're not pitching today. So just relax and enjoy the day, have fun. And then we ended up tying the ball game up in the 9th inning. Fred McGriff hit a home run to tie it up off Lee Smith. And he looked down at me and said, I need you in the bullpen. So I went down there, and Brett Saberhagen was the last pitcher down there. And so we sat there and watched things change, and then I got the call. Had to come in the 10th inning, get us out, struck out a couple guys, Cal Ripken and Chuck Knobloch. Got out of the inning and didn't give up a run, and then we ended up winning it when Moises drove in Tony Gwynn. That was pretty exciting. That was a lot of fun.
So you can see the entire video on, like I said, the city's website, YouTube channel. I did a horrible job of setting that video up. The guy that he's talking about is his dad. And so he's really into race car driving. Meeting Mel Kenyon here in Lebanon, Indiana was a big thrill for him. And so his father, they're putting together their car to take somewhere, and his dad schmoozing with Al Unser and all those things. And so to see him talk about that, and his dad currently lives in Zionsville, so we hope Doug comes back and we'll visit central Indiana, Lebanon, and hang out with his family, and his uncle Keith Campbell here on our city council as well, to be able to see Keith and play for Keith at Lebanon High School. Again, goes into all that as part of our Lebanon Legends video, and so great to be able to have Doug back and be able to share that story, and did get him to choke up twice during the course of the video, so it's great to be able to kind of tug at those heartstrings with him and some fond memories he had. So we look forward to telling more stories of Lebanon Legends here in our community.
Thank you, Joe. Any questions for the board from Joe? Any questions for the public? Okay, thank you, sir. All right, that concludes department head reports. Move on to old business. First meeting of the year. I don't have anything on my old business. Anything from the board?
No?
Okay, move on to new business then. First item up is a parking spot closure request from Patrick Clues. Patrick is a local business entrepreneur and is requesting some parking spots, so I'll let Patrick explain what he's here tonight for.
Turn on the...
Yeah, they'll get in the back.
Yep. Patrick Clues, founder of Clues Brews, Lebanon's first production brewery and public house. So we're closing in on starting construction at our location, 125 North Meridian Street, so downtown Lebanon. The next step is to finish up demo, and with that we need to request to close 5 parking spaces for about 3 months. As you know, there's not really much room in the downtown, so we hired Alt Construction to do our construction. It's a $700,000 investment to Lebanon, and it's about 3 months of construction. It's a total gut and remodel from the inside, top to bottom. So yeah, they need lay-down area. The brewery equipment's large as well. We'll actually have to take the storefront out and forklift that around. So that's why the request is for 3 months.
Okay. So you said there were 5 spots there along
Yeah,
that?
so 5 spots on the north side of the Jackson building. So on the corner of North Meridian Street and East Washington Street there.
I assume this would be for dumpsters and equipment, things like that?
So a dumpster almost takes 2-3 spots, and then, so construction, as that goes on, a place for the staff to park, and then a lay-down area for equipment.
Any questions from the board?
Excuse me, how long, Pat, will you need that closed?
So Alt's saying 3 months.
3 months?
Yes,
Starting when?
today.
Today, okay. As soon as possible, essentially?
Hey, Patrick, did you have some dumpsters there prior?
Yeah, so I personally demoed a lot of the space interior-wise, and I work with the city, so we did 3 dumpsters. They were there after 4 p.m. on Friday, picked up by 8 a.m. on Monday. Long term, that's not ultimately going to work, right? So, the construction project is huge. There's a lot of equipment coming and going. And they also want to stage a dumpster, long term for all that debris. There's nowhere in the alley. The building sits literally on the whole footprint of the space available. So, the brewery equipment's a semi-load, that alone. But yeah, it's a total overhaul, drywall, everything. So.
Okay.
Short-term pain, long-term gain, right?
Yes.
So.
And there's five spots?
Yeah, there's 5 spots there.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Nope.
Thoughts? Okay, with that, I would entertain a motion to approve the parking spot closure request for Clues Brews construction project.
I make a motion, we approve the 5 spots for Patrick at the corner of Meridian and Washington Street for 3 months.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that is approved. Thank you, Patrick, and appreciate your investments, and best of luck with your project, all right?
Thank you.
Okay, next up is Fire Department, Chief Batts, Standard Operating Guide, Standard Operating Guidelines update. Excuse me.
Good evening, everyone, again. As I mentioned in my Board of Works report, we spent the last quarter of 2020 revising our standard operating guidelines. And tonight, I would like to seek the board's approval for the adoption of our 2021 revisions.
So we sent these out to you, I can't remember if it was early this year or late last year, but you should have had these for a chance to review them. Were there any concerns or questions anybody had about the changes being proposed?
No, I don't think so. I looked through the whole 461 pages, so I didn't have a problem.
Okay.
I will say that I think you did an excellent job putting that together.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions for Chief concerning those? Okay. Would entertain a motion then to approve the amendments or modifications to the standard operating guidelines effective immediately?
I make a motion, we approve the standard operating guidelines update presented by Chief Batts.
Okay. We have a motion, is there a second? Motion and a second, all in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, that is approved. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
All right, next up is, I'm going to do these next two at the same time. We have secondary plat and surety acceptance for Sunbrook Section 2 and Sunbrook Villa Section 1. Both these are Kevin Krulik, so Kevin, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. As Ben mentioned before, this is exciting. We are at a point where we need more residential inventory in town. And as I mentioned before, both these subdivisions have recently been paved and they're ready to start building homes. Next step, obviously, is for us to accept the plats, which includes acceptance of the right-of-way dedications and the appropriate sureties associated with the development, so that we can record the plat, or the developer can record the plat, and they can begin selling lots and building homes. So, I don't know if you want to take these one at a time or separately, but what we have is Sunbrook Section 2 and Sunbrook Villas Section 1. What we're asking for is approval and acceptance of the secondary plat and associated sureties with the contingencies that, the plats and the sureties would receive administrative approval, and any executions required would, that you would authorize the mayor to do that.
So I'll do these separately, just so we make sure it's documented that way. So first, let's do a motion to accept and approve and all associated sureties for Sunbrook Sections 2, or Sunbrook Section 2, and authorizing either the mayor or staff to sign on the board's behalf.
I'll make a motion, we approve the secondary plat and accept the surety for Sunbrook Section 2 and authorize the mayor to signature.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that is approved. And would then entertain a motion as well concerning the Sunbrook Villas Section 1.
I make a motion, we approve the secondary plat and survey acceptance for Sunbrook Villas, Section 1.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second? Amended to authorize me to sign a bill?
Yeah. Authorizing, say, yeah.
We have motions. Is there a second? Second. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that is approved. Thank you, Kevin.
Yep.
You should not go anywhere. Next is authorization to issue requests for proposals for the Whit Road Bridge construction inspection.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mentioned this earlier in my report, so all I'm looking for is just your blessing, your authorization to issue a request for qualifications and proposals related to bridge inspection services associated with the Whit Road Bridge over Small Reynolds Ditch reconstruction.
Any questions from the board on that? Okay, then I would entertain a motion to authorize Kevin to seek proposals for the Whit Road Bridge construction inspection.
I make a motion, we authorize to issue a request for proposals for the Whit Road Bridge construction inspection by Kevin.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion, and I think it was Alan. Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that is approved. That concludes what I have for new business. Is there anything from the board?
No.
Okay, on the claims then, and we'll entertain a motion concerning the claims.
I'd make a motion, we approve the claims.
We have a motion to approve the claims. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Claims are approved. And any announcements or discussion?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Yes, we can make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Our next meeting will be Monday, January 25th at 6:15 PM. Thanks for watching.
All right.